What is up, my people? Yes, I am back. But I realized that I've been a bit of a yapper in my videos. I don't get straight into it, and most of the time I just talk about random stuff. I don't actually do any content. So, for those who know, this is well, you know what this is. You know what this app is. You know it. I know it. And I'm most likely going to have, something along the lines of my Fnaf Timeline video or something like that. So, you know what this is. I am assuming that you know what's going on here, but I will briefly explain each of them as I go over them. So with that being said, let's get to it. So as we start here, I am also going by the events that we know have happened. I'm not going to be speculating or anything. Like any other events that have not been named. So like the very start of Fazbear Entertainment and all that, any fucking birthday parties of fucking William or anything. No. Only events that we've heard of, like Fall Fest, Bite of 87, all of that. Well, 83, but whatever. So we start off with Fredbear's Family Diner, Fazbear Entertainment's first ever restaurant, with Fredbear and Spring Bonnie as the face of the mascots. We have Fall Fest. Now, yes, astute observers will, learn they'll call me out on this and be like, hey, where the fuck is MCM? Where's Murray? Where's fucking Murray's? Where's it at? Well, it's my video, alright? And it is gonna come up in a bit. So hold your damn horses, alright? But Fall Fest. Something happened here. An incident. It was like this little collab of Fazbear Entertainment with Murray's and his company. But something happened. A fire apparently. And Edwin's wife died because of it. Unfortunately. Very sad. Very sad indeed. Seeker of the Mimic. This is where all of the Arnold stuff and the Mimic stuff occurs. Before this, yeah, we all know the story. Edwin lost his wife. He took over the company. Too much stress. He made the Mimic take care of his son David. And then, boom, bada bing, David died. The Mimic started mimicking David. Edwin crashed out, broke his legs, and then the Mimic built his legs back and presumably killed Edwin. Now, yes, it's an oversimplification, but for the most part, that's kind of what happened before all of this. Then Arnold is called out by the heads of Fazbear Entertainment and tells them, hey, you have to get some blueprints from us, from some tech that Edwin didn't really give us back. And all of the Secret of the Mimic stuff happens. Now, I'm not gonna dwell too much into the endings and all that, especially Secret of the Mimic, because we don't really know which one is the canon one. So we'll leave it there. The first Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. We saw in Secret of the Mimic that one ending with the amalgamation, whatever, of the Mimic. They have been, building this project for Fazbear Entertainment, which is Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. You can see Freddy and Bonnie and all the prototypes and all that. So we know that maybe Freddy Fazbear's didn't open right after the events of Secret of the Mimic or stuff like that, but I think it's safe to assume that it was, or out of all of the events that occurred, it was probably the next one in line. So, yeah. Now, It's a big jump, right? There's a lot of stuff that people might say that I skipped. For the most part, not really. Yes, Fredbear's and all that, but no MCI has happened yet. It's all pretty normal so far. Yeah, Michael bullying the Crown Child and all that, but for the most part, other than that, not really anything happens. But Crown Child scared of the animatronics. I'm not including FNAF 4. You'll see where it is right now. But for some reason, maybe it's his birthday, maybe he just snuck out. He went to Fredbear's. We all know the story. Michael grabbed him with his friends, bullied the hell out of him, put a prank on him, put him in Fredbear's mouth, and the tears of the crying child activated the spring locks and, well, capped his ass. Killed him. Which leads us into FNAF 4. I believe with all of the little visions that we get of like hospital shit and just like the little sounds when Kong Child dies of like flatlining and all that, I believe FNAF 4, or at least the FNAF 4 that we see, because there's a whole different discussion about FNAF 4 and like, you know, the gas that William Afton was experimenting with, but that's a whole other thing. FNAF 4 that we see here, I believe, is the Crown Child's final dying moments. I will stand on my grave when it comes to that. Now, June 1985. So, there's a 2-year time jump. FNAF 4, all of this was in 1983. Also, I should mention, you know, I'm going to assume that Freddy Fazbear's was also in 1983, but by Secret of the Mimic standards, I don't know, somewhere in the 80s, because Secret of the Mimic was 1979. So, yeah, I should probably mention the years too. But June 1985, the first MCI, first missing children's incident. Now, I'm gonna sneak in between these because I kind of forgot. Charlie's death. I think Charlie's death really happens after FNAF 4, after the Crown Child dies. So, between here, this section is where Charlie dies eventually, somewhere around the line. So Circus Babies opens it. William wants to find better ways to not only get profit, but to get more kids and more test subjects for his experiments and for Remnant. Easy shit if you're in the, deep into the FNAF lore. I mean, come on, this is pretty popular. I feel like everyone knows what happened here. Circus Baby, the star of the Funtime animatronics that William made, detects Elizabeth and captures her, and ultimately kills her. And both of them fuse their bodies. Or I guess not fuse, but, Elizabeth ends up possessing Circus Baby. So there's that. The second MCI that I believe occurs in FNAF 2. But you could fight me on that. You could. And I will listen. But just to clear anything up, I do think there's 2 FNAF 1s, technically. Like, first it opens in 1983. Or 1980, somewhere in the 1980s. Closest because of the 1985 shit and all that. Then reopens it, which will lead into, this FNAF, this location. But I do think this is a part of FNAF 2. I will believe it. Now you might find me on it, because why is Foxy there? If this is FNAF 2. Why? Well, for starters, Puppet is here. Puppet wasn't in the first location. So there's that. And we do hear that before the toy animatronics, they did try and replace the endos of the original four with the Endo O2 ones, which are like newly developed endos, more sophisticated. But it didn't work out, and they were all fucked up because of it. And then we got the Willards. That's my game theory on it. But it's already 10 minutes. This video, so let's breeze through this. FNAF 2. I feel like there's no arguments here. I feel like FNAF 2 is a safe bet. All the puppet stuff and everything that's going on, yeah. FNAF 1 reopens after Junior's closes, Fredbear's is done, Circus Babies is more of a rental type thing. Fazbear Entertainment is kind of in the shitter right now. Horrible reputation. So they try and revive it with this location. But, Ralph dies, phone guy dies, shit happens. And then William ends up dismantling the main four and possibly Golden Freddy, we can assume. For whatever reason you want to believe. Alright? I don't really subscribe to the idea that he dismantled them to make the fun times. They haven't really confirmed it. That's more of a book thing. But I mean, it's whatever. But yeah, the famous spring lock moment happens where he thinks he's putting on his famous suit will either scare them away or just make them think he's one of them. But it kind of fucks him up in the end because a drop of water or something, I don't know, his spring locks fail and he dies. Or, well, not dies, but, spring locked and all that. Yeah. You can really tell I don't really have much of a script when it comes to this video. But I don't care. I'm winging it. So we skip on the timeline. I'm assuming 30 years because I do think that the main Scissor location events happen during, I guess not during, but very close, like probably the same year as FNAF 3. So, Michael scooped everything. We know the story. Let's move on. FNAF 3. William wakes up from his slumber. 5 Nights has to face off against who I believe is to be Michael. But, that's neither here or there. It burns down the attraction. Turns into the god-awful Scrap Trap. Which leads us into Pizzeria Simulator. Do I think it occurred in the same year? For the way that Scrap Trap looks, I would give it maybe like 1 to 2 years, because that is pretty fucked up. The evolution that happened there. Plus, Scrap, Circus Baby turning into Scrap Baby. That that's pretty rough. Molten Freddy and all that, Puppet getting captured, and then Michael being there too, and then it all being burnt to the ground. Coincidentally. The constant night, it's hell. I mean, there's not much to say here. William is just in hell because of Cassidy, aka Golden Freddy, keeping him there. And well, yeah. FNAF VR. Years and years into the future. All that is left of the Fazbear Entertainment legacy are the murders, the murderer, and countless of pizzerias being burnt and just closed overall. Now, based off of the Fazbear Frights books, we can assume, I forgot the actual story of what it was called, but Fazbear Entertainment got this guy who was who was kind of like making these games like around FNAF and its events, which I do believe are the games that we do actually play. It's complicated. It's complicated. Okay, it's complicated, but it's FNAF. Okay, it's FNAF. It's complicated as hell. It always has been. I'm also not including FNAF World because, not much happens in FNAF World. But they get the guy, they get the developer, they kind of crucify him in the intro of FNAF VR, and they kind of make a little silly VR game to poke fun at everything that has happened so far. And then in some way, shape, or form, the Mimic program from Secret of the Mimic ends up here. And completely just fucks up the game entirely. Get the man killed. Just slices his face off. Very crazy. A tape girl starts handing us some tapes hidden in the code to tell us of the entity inside the game that is just fucking with the game and overall just messing with people's heads. But as we can assume, she didn't really make it either. And then, who I do believe is Vanessa, that we're playing as in FNAF VR, is captured. My bad. My bad. Is captured by Glitch Trap, which leads us into Dreadbear. Now, I do think Dreadbear is a DLC in the actual universe, except for maybe the Vanny stuff, like the actual lore stuff that's in the game. I feel like it's just used to tease at Security Breach, not really a part of the actual game. But, yeah, it kind of serves as build-up for Security Breach as a whole. And we go into Special Delivery. It's starting to infect the overall company as a whole. Vanny is doing some shit, as you can see in the emails that you can get in Special Delivery. Not only is she trying to reach out to other people that she is being controlled, but she is also slowly infecting other animatronics that they're making for their Special Delivery program. It's basically the whole sister location thing where you can rent animatronics for like parties and all that. Infects them and just causes a whole fucking ruckus of an infection of animatronics and all that. Which leads us to Security Breach. Around this time, I believe Vanessa has done some things, killed some people, some higher ups, got herself a job at Security Breach, the Pizzaplex, and slowly starts infecting the Clam Rocks, all the animatronics that you see in Security Breach, which is where all that happens. As you can see, I'm running out of things to say and talk about, but it is what it is. Help wanted too. Cassie's dad is infected and turned into a staff bot. Not much to talk about there. And then what we have so far as the latest in the timeline is Ruin. Cassie, trying to find her friend Gregory, goes into the now abandoned and, dare I say, ruined Pizzaplex. But it doesn't go according to plan, and she is not killed because of the little fucking post-credit scene that we got where Roxy reached out to Cassie, so we can assume she's alive. But yeah, this is very poorly made, very lazy. But you know what? My channel has been kind of dead. So I was like, alright, you know what? Let's just make a little video, see what happens, and yeah. I don't know. I've been planning on what to do with this channel because I've just been focused on school and my private life as a whole. And I remembered, hey, it's been like months since my last video, so I'll just cook up something, and I did. Does this video suck? Yep. Is it way longer than it should? Yep. Is it edited? Not really. That's not what I do yet. Although I will start editing videos eventually. But this is kind of just like the beginning of my channel. You know, I'm not trying to achieve greatness here. I'm going at it slow, building up to when I actually start editing videos and putting more effort. But this is it for now. So again, if there's anything you disagree with me here, I would love to talk about it with you guys, or just, you know, drop a comment, whatever. Your choice, really. I might reply, probably will. And yeah. That being said, that's about it. See ya.